Hey everybody, welcome to Goose's Disney Pod, and we are in the year 2015 with the Good Dinosaur. We're continuing our journey through the Pixar filmography. Joining me this week is Jessica Brodkin. Jessica, how are you today?
Great. Thanks for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you for doing the show. Jessica, how long have you been doing stand-up?
On 10 years, which is like, I don't say it out loud very often. But
How many
yeah,
years
it's
again? You cut off for a second.
around 10. Around
Oh,
10,
10.
on and off. Yeah.
And what
So
got you
it's been
started?
a while. Well, I started off writing sketches. And I started off writing sketches and performing them and wanting to be a comedy writer. But I was around 28 and I thought, I was like, oh man, when I'm in my 50s, what will I regret not doing if I don't do it? And I thought, stand up.
Hmm.
I was like, I have to do this or I'm going to regret it for the rest of my life. And that's what I did. I mean, I had a desire to do stand up when I was younger, but my first husband, which is embarrassing to say, he talked me out of it, but he was that type of dude.
He was like, not on my watch.
Not on my watch. You can never follow your dreams or do something fun and creative, right? Yeah, he was the kind of guy. I was
You
too young
think
to know.
this you think this is a partnership? Anyway.
Right.
And you also do some other work.
I
You do
do.
things with spirits and moons
I do. Well,
or
I
stars.
primarily work as a Reiki healer. So I primarily am like an alternative therapist. I'm a shaman. I'm a medicine woman.
And
I'm
how did you get into that?
that was a thing that I was not looking into doing, and that was a really big surprise. I was 26. I had severe migraines and pseudo seizures. I used to pass out, and I was unable to work. And I passed out at a friend's house, and I woke up with him waving his arms over me,
Hmm.
and the pain went away. And I was like, "What are you doing?" And he said, "That's Reiki." And then I started going to Reiki healers for a while, and then in my around 30, my sister got she was diagnosed with a chronic illness, and I was able to mitigate her pain. I was able to help her manage her pain from a distance, which was wild. And
Hmm.
then that became a career, which is crazy. So I've been doing healing and stand up. I guess the healing work I've been doing professionally about 6 years. I've been in business. So yeah.
Well, and you used to have a show with you and Sarah
Yes.
Moore where you would heal people during the show or read their.
Um, Not exactly, but we had a great show at Caroline's on Broadway. We know
Boo.
Caroline's. Boo. Yeah, well, for you, yes. But we had a great show called The Moonual, and now she has her own version of The Moonual. So I am really into astrology. I am really into the moon and into stars and all of that stuff. And so we had a comedy show that was a full moon ritual, and now I do full moon rituals for my clients too, with sound baths. So I do all sorts of things on the fringe of society.
Yeah, you're all over the place.
I'm all
Uh,
over the place.
How was your childhood? Were you counting moons back then, or were you?
No, I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. I am the daughter of immigrants. Um, and so first generation American. And what I was doing was I was an artsy fartsy kid. All I wanted to do was perform and be on stage, and that's all I did all the time. I was writing sketches. I was in plays. I was playing music. I was writing plays, writing sketches, just constantly doing that, like out the womb.
Yeah, because you knew my friend Anthony, who went to school
Yes.
for composing, and you guys met actually at my birthday party 2years ago. And you didn't know that I knew both of you, right?
Yeah, so Anthony and I went to, we're in orchestra together.
Oh wow.
So, and that's where we knew each other, and we would hang out after orchestra every Saturday and just like walk the city and just listen. I was obsessed with classical music, and yeah, I played viola, he played violin, and so we were buddies.
Yeah, and then yeah, that's so funny. So real quick, you before you became a healer and a comedian, you had like a serious job, like you were
I
behind
did.
you were behind 9/11. Uh,
No.
what what got you into why did you take a detour into a serious job?
It wasn't really you mean why did I go from being an artsy fartsy kid to to have a serious job?
Yeah, have a real job, like with with
Well,
with
listen, my
with stakes on the
parents,
line.
well, the serious job that Ray's referring to is that I did work at the CIA for
Okay,
11
I
years.
didn't know if I should if I
It's
say
okay,
it.
you could say it because it's like public
Will
knowledge.
Disney comes back to life and kills us. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know where his brain is, so
Yeah, it might
it's
be the
not
CIA.
really. Yeah. But no, Walt Disney. No, but I mean, because I come from a family of like they came to America like right before I was born, I they were obsessed with me being having a strong education and having a good job and like just sort of being a normal person and not being like an artsy fartsy healer, which
Okay.
is what I am in my core. And I, right? How well, I don't know, a super creative healer, creative in
Mhm.
multiple ways.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Okay. That's interesting. And what were you into Disney films or cartoons when you were younger? Or?
Of course. I mean, like, there was no way I could not be. I mean, I'm around your age, so I was born in 81, and no, I was obsessed with the Disney. Oh, the Disney cartoons we watched as kids were also like they used to have these little vignettes. Like I feel so like I'm 150 saying this, but they had these vignettes with like Donald and Donald Duck and all these. Do you remember these? Do you know what
Yeah,
I'm
they were
talking about?
shorts. They were
They had
theatricals.
shorts.
So in the
Mm-hmm.
40s, they would put them before the 40s and 30s,
Yes.
before the big movies. You're gonna go see, I don't know, like Jazz Review '92. I don't know, and they would have the Mickey Mouse short before it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And
Hmm.
I think in the 80s they must have like put a collection of it together and then they would put it with like Michael Jackson music. So it was like it was like Donald Duck dancing to Beat It. I don't know if you saw those, but those were
Yes.
but I
Yeah, I
used to
remember
watch
those.
those over and over again. It was like 80s music. It was like Disney cartoon, like old school Disney cartoons with an 80s soundtrack and that was my bread and butter before The Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast and all of those. There were, I guess I think I was around 10 when those came out, right? They were in the 90s.
Yeah, yeah, they were. Yeah, Little Mermaid came out in '89. So if you're the same age as me,
So I
we
was
were like 8,
8.
9, 10. Yeah, around that.
Yeah,
Around
yeah,
that
yeah.
time. You know what's so funny? I used to have when I was a little when I was for my second grade birthday, they bought me a picture frame, and it was the evolution of Mickey Mouse, and it starts with him black and white in the 20s, and remember this was like 88, 89, and it
Mm-hmm.
ends with him dressed like Don Johnson with a blazer and the blue shirt, like this 80s outfit, and they're like, and this is Mickey now, and he's dressed like Don Johnson in Miami Vice, and I'm like, nowadays the Don Johnson version looks more out of date than the black and white version.
Right, but the black and white one is classic. I watched those black and white ones too.
Hmm. Yeah,
I,
those are good. I should do an episode about those. But I'm the only one who has copy. They don't even have them on the Disney Plus. They like hide them.
really?
Majority of them. Yeah, I have a DVD set of them, and it goes for like hundreds of dollars because they put it out, and then they were like, I don't know. It's so weird. They like to hide that they came from black and white cartoons. It's like, hey, I know,
It's
like now
very
you're this.
strange.
Yeah, you're this big corporation, but it started because you made black and white cartoons. That's how this all started. The reason why we are all going to be controlled by one corporation is the black and white cartoons. So.
I mean, one of my favorite cartoons, this is a little bit off topic, but is related to black and white cartoons, is
Mhm.
they had a ton of Betty Boop cartoons that resurfaced recently on Instagram and all have like old jazz music with it. And it's absolutely,
Yes.
I don't know if you've seen those.
Well, that yeah, yeah. I used to have they were in public domain. I know someone got screwed on Betty Boop, either the girl who played her or the creator. So
That
all
makes
that's in the
sense.
public domain, so you can do whatever you want. I think with Betty Boop.
Oh, that's unfortunate. I mean, I love Betty Boop. I relate to her myself. So,
Yeah, Betty Boop is a cool. I think Betty Boop is due for a return. I mean, it's been 100 years, and I
yeah,
think
might
it's
as well.
time for her to come back and save us from COVID. I don't know. Maybe that
Betty
will
Boop
be
invents
okay.
Betty Boop distributes the vaccine equally for people.
Yes, while singing jazz hits.
Cab Calloway.
Yeah. So the reason, so I got, to, so I try to match up the comedian with every film. I try, I don't try to just randomly have comedians
Oh,
with
I
every
love
film.
that.
Yeah. Like, so
So
this
thoughtful.
movie was tough though. When I got to this, because I was like, it's very cerebral. I thought Good Dinosaur was very cerebral. It's a very calm movie. I was like, who would this be good for? And I thought of you because I know you count the moons and you, and you
Yes. Yes.
you read the full moon. You're like, hello, moon. So I thought you'd be good for this movie. So what did you think of the Good Dinosaur? And I'll tell you my thoughts down the road.
I have so many thoughts about The Good Dinosaur.
Okay.
I feel like it's number one. I mean, I loved it, but I also found it difficult to watch at times because I was really on edge. It was kind of a thriller. I was worried about the dinosaur at all time. I mean, all times. The dinosaur and his buddy, the cave kid who looks like my nephew, which is surreal to me because um, they were constantly in danger. And I thought it was a beautiful hero's journey. It was a classic journey of not just conquering your fears, understanding your fears, understanding surrender, understanding bravery, and it really was a tale of bravery. I thought it was overall, I would say it was beautiful. I don't know. What are your overall
Yeah,
thoughts?
I think it's a very beautiful film. It's just it's very calm. See, I'm surprised you're at the edge of your seat because I found this movie to be very calming.
You did? That's
Yeah,
funny.
it's just like very like even like the journey they go on is just very like a calm. Even the music is very calm,
The music was great.
and their relationship. I mean, they don't. I mean, he does kind of the little kid does kind of cause the dad to die. Spoiler alert. But like I don't know. It just felt like even the way they became friends was very like chill and natural. I don't know. It just feels very like a calming film. And then even at the end, where he saw his dad's spirit, it's not like
Mm-hmm.
in Lion King. There's like these trumpets and Mustafa's in the
Yes.
clouds, and he's just yelling. And in this movie, he just sees his dad and he just hugs him, and they just walk for a
Right.
little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, until he
Yeah.
realizes his father's not really there. Yeah.
Yeah, he was seeing becoming a healer like you.
He was seeing spirits. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
Mhm.
I was waiting for that moment. I was like, are they going to have a scene where the dead dad comes back? I want to see this. I really how do I mean, I would love Pixar and Disney to stop murdering parents. Number 1. Like, can you find some other way
Some other motivation to get people to
to
do.
raise the stakes besides killing parents immediately? Like they kill someone's, and kids are watching this. Can I
I know.
lose grandma and grandpa? It's like something more realistic or something like
Well, how about like I don't know, like why can't you just be like, I didn't get the job I wanted, and now I'm gonna go.
right, something more normal.
Yeah, well, actually, Soul's more like that. Soul. The new movie Soul. By the way, you should
I
check
saw
out
it
Soul.
100 times,
You saw it already?
150 times.
Did you like the scene where the guy who's like handing out flyers teaches Jamie Foxx how to go into the spirit world to communicate?
I loved Soul. I watched it with my nephews
Hmm.
50 times, 50, 100 times. I don't know. I have that movie memorized. It's ingrained in my brain.
Yeah, I figured that'd be a movie that would appeal to you a lot.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that movie is just like all about the afterlife. I mean, I've read so many books about it. I got a past life regression last week. I mean, this is really just like my wheelhouse is Soul. I mean, so is the dinosaur. I love the what I love. I mean, we could talk about Soul more if you
Yeah,
want.
yeah, definitely. This is a free flowing
Free
podcast, but
flow,
yeah.
whatever. Yeah, whatever you want. What I loved about the dinosaur, the Good Dinosaur, is also the kid and the dinosaur. Their relationship is how it develops and how they become good friends. And it
Mhm.
reminds me, honestly, it reminded me of my dog, of me and
Yes,
my dog.
I think so. So let me give us, if you haven't seen this movie, and if you haven't seen this movie, and this is your first thing, like I want to see the Good Dinosaur, let's do a podcast about it first. You're a very strange person, but if you haven't seen the movie, what happens is the meteor that takes out the dinosaurs misses the Earth, doesn't hit
Right,
the Earth, and the
right.
dinosaurs evolve into the dominant species on the planet, not us.
Yeah.
And we're kind of humans are kind of like dogs, like a pack of dogs and
Mm-hmm.
wolves. And dinosaurs, like they're farmers. I mean, they don't because it says millions of years. So I'm assuming it's like now, but they didn't,
Right.
they didn't create TV or war or anything. But they're basically just,
They didn't make Disney. They don't have Dino Disney. It would be very meta if the Disney Dino movie had Disney Dino inside.
oh yeah, they had a Disney, they had a New York or whatever. No, they're just farmers. They're just simple people, and the kid is a pest. The human boy is like a pest that eats their food, and they have to get rid of him.
Right.
And when they try to get rid of him, the dad dies, and then the next day he sees him again. The little boy, he chases him. He hurts his leg. That to me was the most. When the dinosaur hurt his leg, you never see a cartoon character hurt themselves in a way when they
Yeah.
fall like a
Yeah.
goofy cartoon. And that to me was like I kept like, oh, his poor knee's really swollen. He needs Bengay. Like,
This dinosaur took a beating.
yeah,
He was bruised the whole time. He had scratches. I mean, they even had a scene where a bunch of dinosaurs are talking about all the scars that they have.
that's true. Yeah, the Tyrannosaurus Rexes was this
Yes, the
other movie.
T-Rexes.
The T Rexes were the good guys, and the pterodactyls are the bad guys.
Isn't it wild?
Yeah, it really is wild that the T Rexes were the good. It was almost like they're tired of racial profiling these T Rexes. They're like, these guys have been through a lot. They actually there's some T-Rex poets, there's some T-Rex
Right.
authors.
Right, exactly.
And then the other great thing, which I never thought about, which I see, I just if I made this movie, I just would have had like fucking animals, like a cat walking around shit.
Mm-hmm.
But that because the dinosaurs evolved, not us, all the animals evolved differently. So you saw, I don't know if you remember, like there were like there was like forest animals that look completely different because they evolved differently.
The forest animals were the funniest part of the
Yeah.
movie for me
Mhm.
because there's this rhino who's cockeyed.
Yes.
The cockeyed rhino has a ton of animals, weird animals, just on his horns. And one of the animals is called Dream Crusher. Do you remember this animal?
Yes. He was like a little woodchuck or
He's
something.
a little woodchuck, and I actually wrote this down. He has a dream crusher, and it protects him from unrealistic goals. And if I had an animal, that's what I need. I
That
am
was the
looking.
funniest line in the movie.
That was the funniest line in the movie. I wrote that down. I was just like, that was really good. It was like the
Yeah.
only good joke. Um,
Yeah, because this movie doesn't try to be funny. This movie is more like
no, it's.
very serious and not sad, but just very serious. It's like we're not here to joke.
I think it's kind of wild that the creature, it's so the creature that is responsible for the father's death also kept him alive.
Yeah.
And so, like, what a mind twist. Mind, can I curse here or no?
Yeah, you can curse. No, I don't think
Uh,
kids listen to this. I think just
okay, yeah. What a
adults do.
mind fuck. Do you know what I mean? Like, like this dino is going to need a therapist after this. You know, like how
Oh
much.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I hope the dinosaurs have therapy or some sort. You know.
Well, maybe like this could be the start of them really thinking of humans as pets, and they start breeding the humans and having shelters and stores where they can buy
Yeah, I mean,
humans.
humans and dogs evolved together is a symbiotic relationship. So
Yeah, so maybe now the humans will. That would be an interesting sequel where humans are like now they have houses and the humans are basically like the dogs of the house and like they
it was
pee.
wild to see humans not walk on two legs, to be on four legs.
Yeah, because when I saw the poster, I'm assuming that I don't know, the humans and dinosaurs live together. Like I thought the
Right,
boy would
right,
be leading the dinosaur. Like, you're a good
right.
dinosaur. I don't know. I thought the kid was just
Yeah,
like, you're
yeah, yeah. It was a real like the dinosaur is really the hero of the story.
yeah, the dinosaur is the lead and the kid is the pet, and the kid is just like a comic relief and basically his protector, which is
Yeah,
an I never would have thought of that. It's such an original idea.
I loved it, and the other thing that was a theme of the movie for me was not so one of the reasons the critter escaped and killed the dad was because Arlo, the hero, refused to kill.
Hmm.
And that was another theme is like these dinosaurs were vegetarians. They had a farm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I feel like the whole like animal thing of eating other animals was like this is a vegetarian the vegetarians created this. I don't know if they're
Well,
vegans,
that
but
dinosaur, I remember. I forget what they call those dinosaurs. I
yes.
knew they were veterinarians. They were vegetarians.
Vegetarians, yeah.
Since I was a kid, I know they eat
Yes.
leaves and stuff. I think they're in Jurassic Park eating leaves.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I used to know a lot about. It's funny the stuff that you like learn as a kid and you're like really excited to learn, and then you just forget about it.
I mean, my nephews are 3 and 6, and they are obsessed with dinosaurs. They
Mm-hmm.
have dinosaur T-shirts. They have dinosaurs all over the house. It's just like everything is dinosaur, dinosaur. And
Did
so,
my friend just a quick? So you're Jewish, right? Or you were Jewish?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So I didn't look into this, but I got to look into this. But
Mm-hmm.
my friend went on a date with a girl who was a pro-Trump person,
Oh no.
and she was very crazy. And he's
Mm-hmm.
Jewish, and she was spouting all these crazy conspiracy theories. He's kind of going
Mm-hmm.
back and forth with her. This is before January 6th, and then she goes to him, and the Jews created the myth of the dinosaur. And he was like, "Wait, what?" And I said, "Wait, did you get wrong education on that? That the Jews made up dinosaurs? Like, why? Well, let's say
No.
like they did. Why would they do that? What did it gain them? Like, just kids
The
get to be
Jews,
happy?
I please write that. This is a joke that you
Yeah,
need to that
yeah,
you
I
need to
just don't
talk
know
about.
what they would like. They're all singing around the
I
synagogue. Like,
can't
we need to
believe
make up something. No, the dinosaur.
I can't believe that anti-Semitism has reached dinosaurs.
Yeah, the
Dinosaur,
dinosaurs.
which
The
is
Jews are
completely
behind.
useless. The Jews are behind the dinosaurs. The dinosaurs aren't real. We
Yeah, they weren't
created.
real, and the Jews made them up. Why? Well,
Right,
because they're Jews.
right.
Be
Um,
funny. I just never heard that before, and
I never heard it either. I've never heard it before in my. I mean, we definitely. I didn't go to Hebrew school. I
Mhm.
don't have a proper Jewish education or even like a casual one, but yeah, I don't think they talk about dinosaurs in the Torah or the Talmud or in
Yeah.
Hebrew school.
So like I think like if if I think a priest is supposed to tell you that there were no dinosaurs, that we were just always here because of God. Although I think
Mm.
God created the dinosaurs, and then we're like, these guys are assholes, and then restarted with humans. I don't know, but did the Jews believe in dinosaurs and they died out and we showed up, or did we were just always here as well?
I think like I think generally, I mean, Jewish people generally, I mean, I'm not very religious, but I grew up with around a lot of religious people, but
Hmm.
generally believe like in, I mean, I guess technically, the Bible says that Earth was created in 7 days, but I don't think that Jewish people actually, no one actually believes that. I've never met a Jewish person in my entire life that believes that.
Yeah, my mom said that's a metaphor for like millions of
Yeah,
years,
I
like
think that that's
like
how people
seven
see
million
it.
years, and then we show up.
Yeah, but it's not even, it's like more,
Yeah,
it's
it's
like
probably
the
more.
Earth
Yeah,
is,
well, she meant like like
yeah,
like
yeah,
a
she
rough.
meant in general, right, that it's a
Yeah,
metaphor. Sure.
yeah, which I totally got. Like I don't really believe that 7 days everything caught up to like two people in a garden. I don't know, but there are some people that literally. I know in the South now they take it word for word, where it's like you don't have to take it word for word. You just have to take the lessons.
I
I
mean,
think
if
it's
they
the
want,
lessons that God want you to learn. They don't literally like David and Goliath didn't actually happen. I don't
I mean, if they take it word for word, that's up to them, but just like leave your literal interpretation of the Bible out of my life and out of the
Yeah.
laws of our country. That's really what I would like. Like I can't stop people from believing in it literally, especially since it was as you I'm sure you know, like edited so many times. Like they decided
Yes. Well,
which gospels were going to go on it and what's the story of it because there's so many other gospels that are
mhm.
not included. They're just four, you know?
Well, also Jesus go. You know the reason why Jesus did the whole put me on the cross shit. There's a bunch of people in hell that shouldn't have been there, and he goes and gets them out. That's the original reason.
What?
There were people that the devil tricked. Yes, I got this book, The Big Book of Hell, and it was the
Who
history of
wrote
hell.
this book? Is it
What?
who wrote this book? Is it the girl your friend went on a date with? Like who
No,
wrote
it
it?
was like in the
Or is it
original
legit?
it was in the original Bibles and some
Wow.
editions of the Bibles. So people that Satan had tricked, Jesus
Sure.
goes to hell and gets them out of hell. And when he's resurrected, he's bringing back the people. The reason why he's got to resurrect is to bring back the people to heaven,
Oh,
which makes a lot. It makes a lot more and a
that's
lot more
way.
exciting.
It's more exciting. It's like
Yeah,
taking
he's like,
out
I
the
gotta
best
get
part
to
of the
hell.
story.
I'm sorry.
It's the best part of the story.
Yeah, like I don't know why you edit that out because also he makes a deal with the devil. He has to like actually sit down with the devil and talk to him.
What?
Yeah.
What?
And he's like, look, you got to give me these people. I got to get back up to heaven. I'm the son of God. The cross thing.
What did he exchange? Do you know what he exchanged with the devil?
He probably was like, if you do this, Trump could be the president in 2020. The devil's like, you got a deal. This is a great. Well, the United States will fall in
That was
2022, and
amazing. Well done.
I need these souls right now. But you can have New York and the New York comedy scene.
Whatever. The New York comedy scene in your backyard is definitely a
Oh
really good
yeah,
time.
we're restarting it. Who needs these clubs?
Okay. Oh, yeah. I mean, Ray Goots' backyard, best comedy show in New York.
Thank you. It's coming back soon. You know what? The end credits of this movie, by the way, I cannot believe that this was done animation. Like they're just doing like they're just showing you the backgrounds of the forest and they're showing you like
Yeah,
the river.
it's
I was like
enormous.
sitting there, I'm like, I can't believe this is a computer done this.
It's so well done. And if you want to like go back to Soul, Soul blew my mind in terms of
Hmm.
the details of like how the woman's hair, Dorothea's hair,
Hmm.
the saxophones, the even the other worlds, their voices, the decisions that they made. Soul, I love like Soul was really just like my favorite movie in a long, long time.
Soul I had a lot of fun with, and I really related to it because it's more. It's I think now as you and I get older, we can relate more to. I think it's a
Mm-hmm.
guy who like had this dream and it's
Yes.
not working out the way he wanted it to.
Yes.
And right when he's about to get something, everything just kind of ends, and it's his
Yes.
fight to get back. I think it's more relatable than my mom's dead and I gotta go do something because my
It's
mom just
very,
died.
it's a very touching story, and I read so many articles about Soul because it
Hmm.
really struck a nerve with me. But they decide, you know, the decision on what kind of musician, what kind of person he was going to be, and they decided a jazz musician because they were like a jazz musician really does it for the game of jazz. And I actually studied jazz guitar, which you don't know
Hmm.
about me, but so my jazz teachers are like my jazz guitar teacher is 77. My jazz piano teacher is like in his 80s. And so I like really know those people who are jazz teachers who,
Yeah.
you know, they have their albums and they play in, you know, in Lincoln Center or Blue Note or wherever. You know, they're legit musicians, but it's also just watching. I don't know. I found it, I know how magical jazz is. I know how magical, just like how we know how magical comedy can be. Those moments that make you feel so alive when the whole audience is laughing at something that you created, especially
Yeah.
something you recently created.
Yeah, no, and you know it's so funny because jazz was the other thing about jazz, like it was such a hot art form. It was the predominant like popular music thing up until the 50s, and then rock kind of
Yes.
came and threw it all
Mm-hmm.
out of whack. Because right now, like I'm, doing this thing. I'm doing this thing where I'm reading. I decided to do this project on my own. I'm not doing it for any other reason, but I want to
Sure.
educate myself. 100 books, 100 years, and what I'm doing is I'm taking a book from each year from 1921 to 2020, reading one book from that year.
Wow.
Because I'm like tired of just sitting here and like watching TV shows. I want to like read,
Sure, sure, sure.
and
Yeah.
I'm making playlists of all the hits of each year.
Right.
And like it's all jazz, 1922, 1921.
That's amazing. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time studying, and my teachers made me watch jazz documentaries
Hmm.
and all sorts of things. If you want to
But
talk like sorry, go ahead.
I think the thing with soul is that what makes it even harder is that it's a hard industry to get into and become a huge success because not that many people anymore. You don't have a bunch of kids being like, let's go
Right.
listen to jazz. They want to go listen to
Right.
fucking Tech 974, whatever the fuck
People
that.
don't love jazz
They don't
like
love
they
jazz
used
anymore
to.
like they used to. So it's even
No.
harder to break in than it ever was, I think. So that's what makes the movie more poignant to me.
Right.
Hmm.
As a New Yorker, I guess it was so relatable for me too. There's like a rat carrying a pizza,
Oh yeah,
and
that was
then
great.
and then what was the cat carrying a pizza and bringing the pizza to the main character.
Yeah, no, there were so many great moments in that movie, and it was just like, one of my, I think it was somebody. Oh, I'll tell you who later. I was saying to somebody that we both know that I was doing this podcast with you,
Hmm.
and I was trying to explain Good Dinosaur to them, and they were like, I don't let my kid watch that shit. And the best part is I don't have to buy them any of the merchandise or that crap. And I think you know who I'm talking about. And I
Sure.
was just like, the best parts, the best times I have when my mom and my dad are going to see these movies when I was a
Yeah.
little kid. And then they bought, my dad would buy me the Happy Meal toy with the Snow White doll or whatever.
Sure. Sure.
Like,
Sure.
that's why I'm doing this podcast now. Like, I had such great times with them. It was never like, oh, I gotta buy Ray a fucking a Little
Yeah.
Mermaid uh
Yeah.
book. It was like, let's go get books. And I don't know, it's just weird. That was just a very weird sentiment. It's like,
I guess that sentiment made you feel like you have great nostalgia with your childhood and with your
yeah.
family, and so you're like, how are you denying your kids so much joy that I got to experience? Is I
Yeah,
guess.
and it's like these things, especially a movie like Good Dinosaur, Soul. These are movies that'll teach kids. I think these movies will stay with kids and teach them lessons that you're not going to get from something. I understand. I'm not going to let my kid watch Transformers
Sure.
or fucking I don't know, fucking anime shit. Some of that Japanese shit,
Okay. I
explode each
mean, I
other's
don't
heads.
really know anime, so.
I don't know anime too, but it's violent. But like
Okay.
Soul and Good Dinosaur and Toy Story and Inside Out, these are lessons that kids can really, it's good for them to learn at 2, 3 years old. 4, 5,
Yeah.
6.
Right, exactly. Like my nephews are 3 and 6, and Soul is just like teaching like the lesson that sometimes just being in the zone is just regular living. I
Yeah.
mean, that's everyone. I mean, you know that as a healer, I'm kind of like an alternative therapist, and so
Hmm.
what everyone that I see on the surface, let's say from a very general perspective, we're all just trying to come back home to ourselves.
Hmm.
We're all
Yeah.
just trying to feel whole again, and so much of feeling whole again is just being in the moment of where you are. not
Yeah.
resisting where you are, enjoying the moment where like you drink a cup of coffee, you're talking to a friend, you're doing XYZ, just those moments of regular living.
Hmm.
And that lesson from Soul is so poignant. And the fact that like he did get his dream to come true. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? He did. I mean,
he
yeah, so
did.
he's like mid 40s or 50 or however old he is.
Who
I don't
cares? I
know.
mean,
Who
that's the only people that are
cares?
going to go to jazz
He's
concerts
not a
anyway. So
right. I mean,
better enjoy it.
right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't care
If you
that
want
he's
to bang like
middle aged.
18-year-olds, becoming a jazz pianist isn't the way to go. So,
Right, right. I mean, I
mhm.
think as somebody who plays jazz, I mean, I'm not like a great jazz player, but as somebody who plays jazz, there's so many lessons in creating jazz itself.
Yeah. Hmm.
And in creating jazz itself is you are connecting to your intuition. You are connecting, if you're playing with other people, you're connecting to something greater than yourself. Because, that's how me and Anthony met is I used to play orchestra. And so jazz is really just this moment of pure creation and improvisation and fun and that childhood glory that we don't really get to experience as adults.
No, and you saying about enjoy the moment. There were so many times during the COVID era. We're still in it, but like back when we
Right.
were doing stand up here in Astoria, where we'd be doing a show and the audience would love it, or or the day Biden won and we were having like burritos. I'm
Right.
enjoying the
Uh-huh.
moment, you would hear people like Danny or Ryan be like, "I just want, oh, when things go back normal, things go back normal." And it's like, do you understand? Like we have such control over our careers right now, and we are having so much fun doing stand up, and you know the these days may in a year or two may be gone forever, and it's like you really want to go back to like, oh, I hope so and the new booker likes me, I hope this new booker likes me, I hope
No.
it's like we have all this control over our lives, and
But the thing is, we always had that control.
we always did. Yes,
And
yeah.
we just didn't know it. You could
But
have always had comedy in your backyard.
I could have, yeah. Well, no, my if my aunt when my aunt was alive, she would have been very offended by 90% of the jokes and kicked me out of the house,
Sure, but
but
like,
when she was still alive. But once she died, the sky was the limit, and but yeah, it's like
uh-uh.
I took so many moments to, because at the beginning of the year last year I went through some bullshit, with Caroline and stuff. And it actually was a year ago this week, and I took a lot of moments like, I'm having comedy with so many comedians who I love and so many great comedians, and I just gotta take this in. Like even though like this horrible thing happened in the world, I'm really using it to better myself as a person. Instead of being
Yeah,
like, I just want things to go back. I just want to go sit at McSwiggin's and pass out. You know what I mean? Like,
right. No, there's a lot of the comedy, a lot of New York industry takes advantage of artists as well.
mm-hmm,
So a lot of bookers and clubs can pay, they pretend that they can't afford to pay a lot of people.
mm-hmm. Oh,
Older
they're gonna use COVID as
certain
an
clubs.
excuse until
Hmm?
2052. They're gonna use COVID as an excuse not to pay anyone
I
until.
think a lot of them are not going to come back.
I hope not. You know, I hope not.
But regardless, we have TikTok now, which is like another platform that I'm not really
Well,
using.
yeah, I can't. I thought about doing a TikTok, and after reading a couple of books, I'm like, I'd rather just write a novel than do a
Hmm.
TikTok. You know,
Yeah.
I can't, like, if I'm gonna put all this work into something, I'd rather have something that'll last hundreds of years, not like fucking a TikTok lasts 5 seconds. Are you on TikTok now?
Not real. No. I mean, want to be, but I'm actually working on a book, so that's what
Oh,
I'm
see, there
doing.
you go. That's gonna last.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I wanted to do when I was younger. I
Hmm.
feel like one of the challenges for me is I have 1,000 dreams and desires and one life in this
Yeah.
body as just Brodkin. I mean, I believe in reincarnation, which is the only problem I had with soul. But
Oh yeah. Were they like when you're dead, right?
when you're
And so.
dead, you're dead. You just like you get zapped in like a moth to a flame.
Hmm.
And then they don't talk about reincarnation, that the new souls have to go down and the old souls just merge back with source. And it's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this: do you believe in pre-life,
What do you mean? You mean like the
an
life
existence
between
before you're
lives?
born?
Yeah, absolutely. So
Okay.
there's this guy, and I'll ask
Because
what you believe in a
I'll
second.
tell you real quick. The reason
Yes.
why I believe in it is some of my three earliest memories are: number one, this must be my father; number two, this must be my mother; and number three, why am why am I only stuck in this body? Why can't I go around and see like everything? Why do I have to just experience everything through this
So you
body?
remember being an older soul in a new body.
I remember being like this. I remember knowing like this is my mother, like learning like this face is my mother's face and this is my father's face, and
Yeah.
being like these must be the people that are my parents, which was
Yeah.
an odd thing to be your first memories.
It is odd. One of my earliest memories is remembering a past life where had a traumatic death. So I had a really hard time not believing in reincarnation. But I also come from a family that believes in that. But there are books by Michael Newton. He died, I
Mm-hmm.
think, fairly recently, called The Journey of Souls. And he put people under hypnosis, thousands and thousands of people, and recorded it. And everybody reported the same situation of the life between lives.
Yeah, yeah, it doesn't feel like I just came into existence. Like, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't feel
Yeah.
like in 1981 I just started thinking. It feels like I was thinking before that.
Right, and in Buddhism, they call that the mind stream. So in
Hmm.
Buddhism, they believe that your thoughts from all your past lives come with you, your knowledge from your past lives come with you.
Yeah.
Um, and that the same sort of consciousness that goes from person to, lifetime to lifetime is considered, that soul is considered one mind stream.
Oh wow. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I don't really talk about that with a lot of people because everyone always goes, "You have such a good memory," because I really do have a really good memory. Like,
Sure,
but I
sure.
remember things from when I was 3. Like, there was a comic book I didn't know about. There was a comic book that I remember very vividly, and I found it when I was going through my mom's stuff. And I remember this comic book very vividly, and I remember getting it at the store, and I looked at the year, and the year it came out was 1982. I would have been
Wow.
1. So how can I remember? Like, it's wild to me that I remember this comic book very very vividly. It was a Captain America comic.
Wow, wow.
Yeah, and so they must have. And I remember buying it new, but I must have been 1 years old. I think they said I used to just grab comic books and they would just buy them for me. So
So here's a question for you.
mhm.
Do you feel like there's some people that you've met in this lifetime that you've met before, and then they?
There was one girl in high school. I felt like I grew up with her, and I didn't meet her until she was like 14. When I mean
Mm-hmm.
grow up with her, I mean like when she was a baby, like
Yeah,
before. There were some people. There's every now and then there's like a few people like that, but not a lot. Now nobody. And I
really.
hope I didn't grow up. Half the people we know, I hope that, no offense. I hope that I
No,
didn't. I hope I
no.
wasn't with Egypt, because they
You
probably would
hope
have.
you would?
I hope I wasn't with them in ancient Egypt or something. Like, I'm not thinking of like a weird
Yeah,
past life.
yeah. I mean, there's some basic past lives too. Like I remember like being in England or being in,
Mhm.
um, pre-colonial Africa, and I don't even know when that was. Maybe 1500s, 1000,
Yeah.
1000 AD. But
Yeah,
like,
so I don't know if I had a previous life. I have Sometimes I'll read stuff and it'll strike a chord. Like, I'll
yeah,
read and it'll be like, and I'll feel like I almost like, oh yeah, I know that. And I'm like, well, how do I know that? I'm just reading about it. But I don't know if I had a past life. Or maybe
gotcha.
it's hard to say.
Gotcha. I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of easier when you don't have those memories because we're
Hmm.
not supposed to really remember.
Yeah, because I just
It gets, and it does get confusing when you do remember. Like I have some memories and it gets confusing and it gets weird and it gets like kind of it complicates things for me. It has.
yeah, because my first memories are so odd. Like, why would I be like, why can't I escape? Why can't I just leave this body?
Right.
Like, nobody, and it's just like it's hard to talk to people about it because there's such like weird first memories to have. And I don't know, it's just like I do think I was doing something before I showed up as a baby.
Sure.
And a lot of people are just like, a lot of people, it's wild to me when people go like, I don't remember kindergarten. And I'm like, well, dude, kindergarten for me was like last Tuesday. Like, I remember everything. Like, I think that's why like I'm still like into like kid stuff, because it's like, it just feels like, what, I just bought my Thundercat figures a week ago. Actually, it was 30 years ago.
I do remember Thundercats.
Yes, that was an interesting show.
That was our time.
That
Mm-hmm.
was that was yeah, the 80s, the best time to be a kid. Um, Good Dinosaur. I just want to mention, what did you think of the voice acting? I thought it was actual kid playing the dinosaur.
I saw that. I went through the cast and I wanted to see who played everyone. I loved the voice acting. I
Hmm.
mean, my only sort of, I don't know if criticism is the right word, but a lot of there were groups of dinosaurs that had southern accents and it was like a little weird Do you know what I
Well,
mean?
maybe they were in the South. I don't know.
We were in the South. The whole like the T Rexes were all Southern, and
Mhm.
then
Yeah,
so
how would a
whatever.
dinosaur get a Southern accent?
It was something to think about, like the choice of accent because it was so distinct, and also the three feathered dinosaurs that they were fighting, or not three but six or whatever, with the buffalo were also had Southern accents.
Yeah, well,
So
Sam Elliott, he's such a great actor. I'm glad he was a T-Rex. So
he really crushed it.
I love his voice. Yeah.
Yeah, the dads, all the dads had a lot of bass in their voices, which I liked. So
Yeah, who played the main dad? Hold on, sorry, I'm looking it up.
I recognize him, but I like can't remember his name. And Emma Thompson played the mom.
Okay, who played? No, Frances McDormand played the mom.
Frances McDormand. Okay, yes.
Jeffrey Wright. Jeffrey Wright,
Mm-hmm. You did
who
great.
who is in Westworld and stuff. Have you watched that
Mm-hmm.
show? That show's great.
I don't know, but he's
Okay,
great.
he's great. Oh shit, there was something I wanted to mention about these movies. Shit. Oh man, I'm sorry, I just had it in my head. Sorry, Good Dinosaur fans. I wanted to bring up another point
I
about.
did read that Good Dinosaur was the first financial disappointment of Pixar.
Yeah, because well, they had Inside Out that year, same year, and that movie is
Mm-hmm.
huge. I mean, that movie last week on the podcast, Christina Hudson said that movie sent her to therapy.
Wow.
Have you seen Inside Out?
I haven't.
You got to see that next.
Yeah. Okay.
That is almost like a side piece to Soul in terms of
Okay.
like what they talk about the mind and the consciousness.
Wow.
You got to see. They
Okay.
met with
I'll see it.
I'm sorry.
I'll see it.
Yeah, they met with a therapist that dealt with emotions, and
What?
yeah, it's about these emotions that are so the emotions in this
Oh
girl's
my God.
brain.
I can't wait to watch this.
Something happens and her emotions shut down, and she runs away from home, and
Yeah.
and the emotions have to get back into the control room to make sure she's just basically if the emotions fail, she's gonna become a sociopath. But
What?
yeah, well, they don't
Wow.
say she's gonna become a,
Right. Right. Right.
but that's basically what's gonna happen. But I'm surprised you never saw Inside Out. You're gonna love that movie.
I mean, I have Disney Plus now, so
Yeah.
I can't wait.
But yeah, Inside Out was a huge hit, and I think there were a couple. I think that was the same year Secret Life of Pets came out with everyone's favorite.
Also, it's a lot. They had a lot going on.
Yeah, Louis C.K. was in that one, so I'm sure everyone got jerked off on the film premiere, breaking tripods. So there was a lot of kid movies, and this I think was just very quaint. I know Mike Lawrence, he was on the show, and he goes to every Pixar film opening night with his wife, or just friends when before he knew her. He would make a point, and he's never seen this one. So it doesn't, Inside Out, when you see it, is dealing with such a lofty like emotions and the human mind, and then you
Yeah.
have a film like Coco. Which have you seen Coco?
Oh, I've seen Coco
Oh,
many times.
I can't. That
You
podcast, that
can't.
episode, I'm gonna cry. That movie got me. My
Oh, I was
family's
weeping. And you're
yeah.
Mexican too.
hmm So Coco deals with the afterlife. You have all these huge. Even Onward deals with like
Uh-huh.
heavy. Heavy. You saw Onward?
Mm-mm.
Okay, that deals with heavy emotions. And then Good Dinosaur. It is but it's kind of like here's a
It's really
dinosaur finding his
classic.
way.
Right. It's a classic
hmm
hero's journey. It's a classic archetype of going through all these tests over and over again. I feel like the story of Good Dinosaur could have been done better.
Yeah, yeah. I just think it was a little bit too quaint. I needed the stakes to be raised more. There was like a lot of quiet moments, and I kind of thought it would be a little bit, but I also kind of like the fact that it's quiet.
Okay.
It's a different movie.
Yeah.
It's different. Like Inside Out is a very poignant movie, but it is a very like boom, 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 boom. And same thing with Soul. Something's always happening.
Oh my God, Soul really. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do
Um,
you feel about Tina Fey in Soul?
I would have liked less of her, or I would have done a different voice actress.
You would have done someone different.
Yeah, I just they don't really make movies. Well, here's my problem. Here's my thing. My main thing with I wanted more of the black family and the
Yeah.
black guy because they don't really make movies about black people. And to like
They
all of a sudden
don't.
have a
The
white woman.
first one.
Yeah. But even the Princess and the Frog was supposed to be the first one, and half the movie they're frogs.
But this is the first Pixar with the
The
black
first
family.
Pixar about black people,
Yes.
and you have a white woman kind of hijacking the middle of the movie. I would have had her a little bit less and a
But
little bit more. What's up?
I mean, so the original Soul was mostly in that world, in the like
Hmm.
before world, and not that much in the New York City world,
Oh,
which is
okay.
interesting.
See, I like the New
So
York
they
City stuff.
re I like the New York City stuff too, yeah. I guess like the character herself is a soul. She's like Tina Fey is obviously a white woman, but the character herself is not anything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But people don't see it that way. People see it as
Well, you know what? I would have had more. I would have almost made. I would have cast a gender neutral actor to play the role.
a gender neutral actor. So
Yeah,
like,
and a person whose
yeah.
pronouns are they them
Yeah,
to play the
so
role.
like Elliot Page.
Elliot Page, yes, because she's even though she like I just took this the joke is everyone finds this persona the most annoying, so I'm gonna
Yes.
adopt it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I would have preferred it to be like I don't know what I'm gonna be. I might be a man or a woman, and go from there,
That's a
and keep the
whole
character
different
goofy. But
that's a whole different take.
well, yeah, because I think
And it's more interesting in a way if it's a non-binary. I think about non-binary a lot in
mhm.
general.
I
'Cause
think it would be very interesting. By the way, I came up with a horror movie about you know the term dead name.
no, what's dead name?
So okay, so let's say Ben Roosevelt becomes Bessie, right? He becomes a woman,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And then you call him Ben. That's offensive. You dead named
Yeah.
him.
Oh, yeah, dead name. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I do know this. My best friend's kid is trans, so
Okay.
I.
I came up with a horror movie where a character comes out as a. This is the idea. I feel like I have to have a
Mhm.
trans person let me write it, but I think it would be a good movie. It's called Dead Name.
Okay.
This guy becomes a woman and he's happy
Yeah.
with his life. His friends all accept him. He's a woman. That's it. And then all of a sudden, the male version of him just shows up and starts living and starts just doing stuff. Like he's almost like just shows up, takes over his life, and he's
Right.
got to figure out how did my dead name come to life. And they're like fighting over like who gets to live. And the male version is basically like I'm not ready. I'm not leaving. I'm like this is my life. I don't know who you are. Like you're not.
Right.
You're just some random woman. You're not really. And it's a battle. It's like a fucking horror movie with it.
I mean, write it, man.
Well, I gotta get it because if you write it wrong, Twitter will fucking have you
Oh, okay,
arrested.
fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, maybe write
Even if
write
I
it
got it
with a
made
trans
and like
co-writer.
I had like transgender people like be like, "It's a great
Mm-hmm.
movie." All you need is like five to get mad at you, and then Twitter's gonna burn down my house, and I won't be able to
Right,
run.
right, right. We don't need that.
I'm gonna have to become
What if,
Republican and run for Congress to get
no,
anything
no,
done.
no, we can't. We,
Okay.
yeah.
Would tell them the Jews created. Well, if you think my script was bad, the Jews created the
The
dinosaurs.
dinosaurs, which is now responsible for the movie Good Dinosaur and
Yeah,
Jurassic Park.
and Jurassic Park. Yeah, the Jews are responsible for.
We're
And
responsible. I mean, Spielberg did Jurassic Park, didn't he?
yeah,
So literally, the Jews are responsible for Jurassic Park.
yeah. Hey, so guys, a funny aside: Jessica Brodkin, before we a couple of days ago,
Yeah.
sent me a screenshot of the movie Dinosaur from the year 2000, and I
Yes.
raced to my phone to say, "Do not watch that movie because that's a piece of shit." And I was
Okay.
so afraid that you had already watched it.
Oh no, I hadn't. I wanted to
And
double check which dinosaur movie you wanted.
Nathan or that is such a bad movie. Oh my god, it is so bad. It's like the first time Disney did because they didn't own Pixar until 2006.
Right.
So it's the first time they did CGI, and they were
Mm.
trying to like outdo Pixar, and it looks
Yeah.
like a bad video game. It's so bad.
But I believe that. I believe that.
Yeah,
That makes sense to me.
yeah, because they didn't own Pixar yet, and they're like, "What if we just do CGI? Then we could fuck Pixar." Then they were like, "Maybe we should just buy Pixar."
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad Pixar hasn't lost its edge with Disney. Do you feel like Pixar has changed since Disney bought them?
I kind of think when
I
John
mean,
Lasseter left, they kind of they and he the last movie he kind of really was involved with was Coco. I
mm-hmm.
kind of feel yeah, but I think Soul's a huge step in the right direction because I kind of feel like Toy Story 4 and onward and Incredibles 2 didn't have the same bite as everything else.
Sure.
I know the guy was a creep. I don't know. Do you know that he was like sexually molesting or assault? He was not assaulting, but he was like basically molesting every woman in the office. Did you hear that story?
I didn't know that. No, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah. When you see him on the DVD extras, you're like, oh yeah, this guy. Um,
Right.
but he was, I think he was basically like the Walt Disney lawyer. He would like say like, do this, do that, and then all of a sudden it would work. There's a couple of guys like that where they
So
just
he's brilliant but evil.
he's evil, yeah, which is most brilliant people. They're evil. Um, so he left, and I think it's taken a while, but I think Soul's a huge step in the right direction.
Yeah.
And Soul, I think if they keep going down the road of Soul, they'll be back. But it takes an adjustment when someone that big, basically that's his company. He created it with two people, and when someone that big leaves a company, it kind of leaves a giant hole in it. Even if they are like a horrible human being.
Right.
So, would you recommend Good Dinosaur to kids? What do you think?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't know.
It's a little bit too. It's a little bit too slow, I think, for little.
I think yeah. So you found it slow. I found my sister has anxiety, so I don't want her to be anxious while
Okay.
watching the movie. I don't know if it I can't like say hey my nephews should watch this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think I would if I had a kid and he
Yeah.
wanted to watch something, I would put this on, make him go to sleep. I think it might make him go to sleep. So
You
that'd
and
be
I had
good.
such different experiences of Good Times. I was really on edge.
Well, see, I'm glad. That's the great thing about these movies is that they
We experienced them differently.
here's great things. It's different things. Jessica, where can people find you on social media, on the internet? If they want to count moons with you, where can they find you?
Okay, so they can find me at Jessica Brodkin,
Mhm.
Brodkin on Instagram. I'm really just on Instagram. I'll be on TikTok at some point. And you can find me on my website if you want to count moons, do Reiki, or go to Full Moon. I mean, I do Full Moon sound baths, Reiki
Yeah.
sound baths, and they're donation based. And that will be on at loveandlightservices.com.
Awesome. Yeah, it'd be so funny. Like, I think she counting moons. It's like one. All right, that'll be five hundred
You
dollars.
do counting moons is really like our inside joke that the audience does not know about.
Yeah,
So
because one time I forgot what she did.
I'm like, you
she's like, I'm
count
busy.
moons. The idea, I'm busy, I'm working, and you're like, oh, you're counting moons. The whole idea, because we have one moon. You know what I mean? And so
I know that's
I
what's
love
funny
the
about
idea that I'm like counting moons.
it. Like
It's just
one.
one, two,
Still
three,
there.
four moons.
I
Just
don't know. There could be like cerebral moons. I don't know. Like
cerebral moon.
moons of the
Still,
mind.
yeah.
Yeah. So guys, if you enjoyed this episode, if this is your first time, whether you're into Counting Moons or Good Dinosaur, Pixar, this is your first episode that you're listening to, I have a backlog. I've done every Pixar film up to this. We're gonna go all the way to Soul, and I've also done every Disney film from Snow White to Frozen 2. Every week with a different great comedian. You can follow the podcast at Goots Disney Pod. You can follow me at Ray Goots, and yeah, tune in next week. I'm gonna have Mike Cannon. You know him.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be doing Finding Dory, and we're going to
Oh,
be
that
talking about how
sounds
much we hate
fun.
Ellen. So
That sounds like it's going to be a great episode.
I think it's going to be pretty solid. Jessica, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll see you next week, guys, for Finding Dory.